All right, let's talk about this, though. Former President Trump scheduled to hold his first public campaign event of the 2024 White House bid later this month, and it just happens to be taking place in one of the most anticipated early primary states.
Our national correspondent Mike Carter brings us details from Trump Tower.
Well, South Carolina will hold Donald Trump's first public campaign event of the 2024 presidential election cycle. It's coming up on January 28th, only a few days after Republicans have their winter meeting in California to decide whether to re-elect or replace Republican GOP chair Ronna McDaniel. To South Carolina now, both South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster and Senator Lindsey Graham are expected to be on hand for Trump's event at the South Carolina State House in Columbia later this month, as Trump plans to unveil his leadership team in the early primary state. Several members of South Carolina's congressional delegation are expected to be on hand for the event, including Congressman Russell Fry, who with Trump's support ousted Republican incumbent Tom Rice in a primary last year. Rice was the first of the 10 House Republicans who voted to impeach Trump over January 6th to lose a re-election bid. Meanwhile, South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace, who defeated a Trump-backed opponent in her own GOP primary last year, she will not be attending Trump's event, saying rather she will wait to endorse a 2024 candidate, quote, once the field is set. And Trump's visit to South Carolina comes as two of the top Republicans in the state mull 2024 bids of their own, including Nikki Haley, the former governor and one-time UN ambassador who back in 2021 said she would stand down if Trump decided to run for a second White House bid. She is reportedly still considering running for 2024. And then there's South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, who's been making visits to other early voting states and who even launched a political action committee that could become a presidential campaign vehicle. Meanwhile, former Vice President Mike Pence, he's made 6 stops in the Palmetto State since 2021, and former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and current Governor of Florida Ron DeSantis, each of those two men have made a pair of visits to South Carolina over the last 2 years. Why is South Carolina so important, you may ask? Well, with the exception of Mitt Romney in 2012, South Carolinians have voted for a Republican for president in each election cycle since 1980. Democrats, they're looking ahead to South Carolina as well. They're hoping to usurp New Hampshire's first in the nation primary status with South Carolina as we head into 2024. Both parties having their eyes on the Palmetto State as this presidential election cycle gets going. In New York, for Newsmax, I'm Mike Carter.
All right, Mike Carter, thank you. Back with us to discuss, Jessie Jane Duff joining our panel, Brian Sychik alongside Tony Katz. Jessie Jane, going to bring you into the conversation here. Your reaction to Mike Carter's report.
Well, I'm very excited as the former co-chair of Veterans for Trump that President Trump is going to get back on social media. I'm not too concerned about the other candidates. A lot of people don't really realize that a lot of this is political fundraising. When you get out there and you start with your presidential exploratory committees and you give the impression that you may run for president, it gets a lot of people riled up, builds up donations, and et cetera, et cetera. But President Trump getting back on social media is going to be a powerful force. I think he has to get back on Twitter, myself, and Facebook, because those were the largest platforms that have the greatest exposure all over the world, and not just to the American people, but foreign leaders alike all follow him. So it's incredibly important for him to have that microphone, which he utilized so well.
Yeah, he wants those microphones, Brian, but he was trying to do without those microphones, right? I mean, he was trying to do Truth Social, he was trying, but it shows how powerful they are, whether you like them or not. They do reach a lot of people.
Well, one, Truth Social clearly wasn't effective. And I think part of that is you're sort of talking to those who already agree with you. Part of the charm, so to speak, of Twitter is that you have this disagreement. If Republicans can't scream at Democrats and vice versa, I'm not sure what the allure is. But regarding getting back on Twitter, you know, when you think about the president and his campaign, I think we have to see an evolution here. If, you know, there has not been a great start, I think it's too early to draw a lot of conclusions, but it hasn't been a great start to the president. He's not generated a lot of enthusiasm. If he thinks he can just get on Twitter and say things that are going to be hyperbolic and get people's attention like he did in 2016, I think that's sort of played out here. I think it's going to be interesting to see how does he evolve in that using that medium. What does he do that's different that gathers people's attention? Just banging on fellow opponents, I'm not sure that's going to have the same effectiveness as it once did.
Tony,
there's never a moment where being hyperbolic doesn't get you attention on Twitter. It still works. You can go about trying it right now. So I think that Trump, if he wants to play it that way, he could get a lot of attention. The question is, can he garner a lot of support? We're so far out from when this really and truly matters. I think we should just enjoy the moment, hear what gets said. We don't know who's in this race yet. There are people mentioned in that long list that may not be in this at all. People mentioned this list, as Jesse is pointing out, that will run because, well, this is kind of what you do, and there's a fundraising opportunity, but it's not serious in terms of where the primary electorate is. We got time. Grab a bourbon, relax.
I was just going to say that. I would say he's saying have a cigar, have some bourbon. Which I don't know, but that may be something Jessie Jane partakes of as well. I don't know Jessie that well.
Yes, cigars and the bourbon.
There you go.
See?
Sometimes both. Sometimes more of one than the other.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, somehow I thought that was the case. But let's talk for a second about these two WPA intelligence polls. The first has Trump losing to Biden by 8 points in a theoretical 2024 contest. But when the choices are DeSantis and Biden, DeSantis actually wins by 3 points. Given the stipulation, yes, it's too early to talk about that. Yes, we should have a cigar and bourbon instead. Jesse, what do you think when you see this? Because I don't know what the polls were like last time. I do know what they were like against Hillary Clinton, and he was supposed to lose, what was it, 85% chance?
Yes. I don't remember the exact.
And that changed.
Trump has been an underdog many times and underestimated many times. Nobody has a microphone like he does. Any of those other candidates that were mentioned have minimal name recognition next to that of Donald Trump. He is a recognized force, number one. Number two, he has $1 billion worth of data alone. He has a campaign that can stretch across nationwide in an instant. He is capable of having reach into every single state because he's already done it. He can garner up a presidential campaign literally overnight. He will have all the personnel ready to roll and ready to start doing exactly what they do best. And so I don't underestimate this man. I think the polls right now can't reflect much because President Trump isn't actually out there campaigning right now. And he has not really made an aggressive measure towards Joe Biden and his poor measures that he has so far caused this country to go into rapid decline.
All right. We're going to leave it there. Leave enough time for cigars and bourbon. Jessie Jane Duff, Brian Sychek, Tony Katz, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Guys.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson. Your retirement funds are being threatened with even more losses from record inflation, recession, and skyrocketing interest rates. Fortunately, the highly trained specialists at American Hartford Gold can show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. If you call them right now as a special offer, they will give you a free gold coin on your first qualifying order, so don't wait. Call 866-935-4309. That's 866-935-4309 or text Newsmax to 65532. That's Newsmax to 65532.